you're in the throes of death, and it sounds like life got really long.
Got long.
Long, yeah.
It felt like an eternity when you can't do anything
Yeah,
and you want to. And
right.
I mean, my focus is always better's better. And when you're literally fighting and doing everything you can and your body's just like fighting you back.
Welcome back to All Can, No Can, the show where we talk about overcoming chaos, building resilience, and taking back control of your life 30 seconds at a time. This is all about finding the opportunity in the obstacle. And I've got someone that actually we've been talking for a few minutes, and y'all know I don't like to do that. We've been talking before this podcast because it was so fun to talk to her. So I'm excited. She has a story that's like it's like a movie, like a really good Lifetime movie. Holly Porter. She's built 11 startups. She's written, I just found out, 16 books, but my intro says 15. She's on number 17. We'll talk about that. Survived from a coma from COVID. So for the folks that weren't touched by COVID and still have questions, she was in a coma for 70 days. Yeah, you heard that right. 70 days. She literally came back from the edge of death. So we share that commonality. Then she built a company designed to help other people heal, recharge, and rebuild. Her newest venture, Retreat R&R, helps leaders and entrepreneurs design meaningful retreat experiences that they don't fill your schedule up. That's not what it's about. It's not about moving bodies around, but it's about filling your soul. Holly, thank you so much and welcome to All Can, No Can't.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. Um, so this near-death catalyst, your bio reads like somebody, I mean, you've lived, you're like a cat in terms of lifetime, like 11 startups. Now you're on book 17, a coma. Let's start there. Tell me what happened. What did that experience do to like your sense of control? And I'm going to use the word specifically control because I can identify with that.
I mean, what I can control or what I can't control.
Well, that's just it. How do you draw that line? When did you realize when did you realize one or the other?
Oh my gosh. When I lost all five senses and I'm laying there and I can do nothing, including wiping my own butt. It's like,
Wait.
what?
You
You
lost all five
surrender.
senses: sight, smell, touch, hear.
Yeah, hearing the ventilator took like 90% of my hearing away. So everybody sounded like the Charlie Brown school teacher. Wah, wah.
Wah, 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 wah.
And then taste and smell from COVID. And then I'm past legally blind. So without my contacts or glasses, I can't see who anyone is unless they're like 8 inches in front of my face. And they're all wearing, hats and masks and everything was yellow. And then most of them
Yeah.
had glasses on. So the eyes were the only way I could tell who people were, and they had glasses. So what's left? Oh, your hands. They tie your hands to the bed when you have a ventilator
Because
down.
you pulled the ventilator out.
I don't have any desire to do that. That's how I had breath. I'm like, you can give me my hands. I promise you I will not pull it out. But
Yeah.
so the touch, was you weren't able to do
Yeah.
that. But it was miserable. I mean, and I
Wow.
really wasn't in the coma 70 days. I was in and out, sedated, sometimes paralyzed coma. They'd put you in heavy sedation. And yeah, so there's different experiences, and we don't have time for all of them today, but there's out of body experiences, and then there's spiritual transformative experiences, and then near death experiences. Those are like your basic big three. And I didn't know they were different. The only thing I'd ever heard of before was a near death. I knew I had a near death. I didn't put it all together. I'm still putting things together. Someone told me, it's been 4 years. Someone told me that it takes like up to 10 years to unravel everything
Oh,
from a near
wow.
death experience. And I thought, wow. And I'm excited about that. And I was actually told that later in a hypnosis session that I had done on my near death because there were some gaps missing in it. And for the book, I was like, hey, out of integrity, I want to make sure I got it right. And
Yeah.
that opened up so many doors. And he told me there, more will be revealed to you when the time is right. And I'm
So
like,
you keep getting these gifts.
yeah, I actually last night I just figured out something to the story, and I were just final manuscript, editing and everything, and I voice text my editor, and I was like, "You remember this part? I just figured this out." And it was like a creepy part. It was an entity because when I went to the near death or the hypnosis experience, I didn't go into this big stadium of light that I had remembered from the near death. I went to the in between, the dark and the light. And so there was an entity there that wanted my light. And the hypnotist was, I knew him very well, and I'm trained in hypnosis, so I understand the process. And he was speaking to him, and he didn't know me. He just wanted my light. And so they bantered, and he's like, that's not yours. You stole her light. You can't have her light. And they're going on about it. And then the light came and took me. He said it's coming to take her and I can't do anything about it. And so this entity, oh, you'll have to read the book because the whole story will be in there. But this entity took me from the place I remembered that was awesome and put me in there. And I had to have what I call a spiritual intervention to get back and come back. And what I just figured out was in some of my out of body experiences, there was some dark things going on, even though there was some funny things too. I just realized last night, I have a feeling that this really dark entity in this one thing, he was like standing over me. And I thought he couldn't see me. I don't think he could, but I didn't know that. And I remember holding my breath and him over my shoulder, and something fell and broke. And like you could hear him in my ear and shaking his head, like I could feel it. And I was just like, and I just realized last night, I think that was the same entity, like following me around in my out of body, some of those experiences till I was vulnerable enough to where he could take me. I mean, it's creepy, I know, but it's just like, oh my gosh, I bet it was him.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Anyway,
that's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And there's a lot more to the story, but it's just like, wow. Yeah. But I didn't get a choice to come back. I mean, I got specifically told a couple things to do, and I'm working at them as much as I
Like
can every day.
like you feel like you got tasks handed to you and now you're
Oh,
back.
oh, clearly. Yeah. So I'll tell you real quick. So the first thing I got told to do was start this nonprofit called Adventure Bucket Wish, but then there was no other instructions. So I came back, and originally I made it for long COVID because I had long COVID after all this experience, all the diagnoses, and I was perfectly healthy going in and walked out on 12 drugs. And
Wow.
I'm super holistic, so I got off them quickly, but there was a lot of diagnoses that I'd never had: rheumatoid arthritis, pulmonary fibrosis, sleep apnea, fibromyalgia. I mean, all of them started stacking up. So I wanted to help that group of people. And God didn't tell me who to help. He just said, start this nonprofit. So ended up, by the way, a couple years later, changing mission. And there's a whole story behind that as well. And another, it's like spiritual experience of when I changed the mission. And now we help women leading with purpose. But the second thing I was told was I had pitched the day I found out I had COVID, and I was sicker than a dog. And I'm like, didn't want to change the appointment. It was like 9 people on a Zoom. So I'm in there, getting ready. I get up at 5 a.m. because they're Eastern time and I'm Mountain time. And I just said, full disclosure, I think I might have the flu. So I'm not 100%, but I didn't want to cancel. So let's just go. And so I did it. And the second thing I was told was don't partner with the company you just pitched to, that it's not the highest and best thing, and that it will take you longer, but it's not the right thing to do. And they had a billionaire backer, by the way. So if you can bet, I was bummed. I mean, I was really excited to partner with them, which was the whole
Yeah.
reason I pitched. And so I didn't partner with them. And it's interesting because just in the last few months on that, it's funny how things come full circle. I I'm seeing now, like they had this huge moonshot, mission, and I wanted to be part of it so bad, and it all just has fell apart. Like they're not even doing it. So who knows what would have happened? I mean, I just feel like there's all these little, I call them God gifts, coming, and they're still coming, and I'm so for it.
Yeah. Um, so when you first woke up, do you remember, it sounds like you were in and out quite a bit. Do you
Yeah.
remember like the first time that you woke back up? Like was there like a line in time?
Well, they had me in and out all the time. So I can tell you clearly, between I was intubated twice, and then I had a trachea, and then I had sepsis and a couple other life-threatening infections. Any of those would have killed me. But I can tell you the near-death experience specifically, I know exactly when it was, because it was between my first and my second intubation. It was about day 10 in the hospital, when I was really the worst. And I came back when I got told those things to do. I was sent back, not given a choice. I probably would have stayed, honestly. And obviously, we don't talk to those people that decide to stay on the other side, where they don't come
Right.
back. So we
Yeah.
don't know. But I think I would have stayed. But of course, I guess if God tells you you have a mission and you're supposed to do things, you're going to listen. But I
So then
woke
you
up.
remember, like the
Oh yeah, and guess what I was doing? This is what was creepy. This is part of that whole entity story later that I find out later. So I couldn't speak, so I'm pointing to an alphabet that they hold up to me, and I
like
could
a
barely
Ouija board,
move. A what?
like a Ouija board.
Oh,
You know,
no,
it'll
just
spell out the answers.
oh no, just pointing to the alphabet letters, like literally.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And I start, so my sister's there with me. My husband couldn't be at the hospital for the first 3.5 weeks because he had COVID. They wouldn't let him in. Luckily, at that time, I could have one person every 24 hours, or I would have died without them, no doubt. But my sister was in there with me, and she said she could tell I had so much anxiety. I'd never had PTSD, anxiety, nothing, and I was really uneasy. So she went and got the paper, and I started spelling KID, and she's trying to help me, and she said, "Oh, you need me to tell your kids something?" And she could tell that wasn't. I probably shook my head, and then NAP. And she's like, when you spelled kidnap, she said, first of all, I looked around the room. I wanted to grab the garbage can and throw up because you were doing so much better. So I ran an errand and I was gone. What happened? They're like, you never left this room. You had surgery in this room. And I'm like, I went everywhere, but in my mind. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I never could figure out how do you come from this, stadium of light experience and think you're kid like what's the kidnap thing? So it took me 2 years to unravel that. And then I realized in this hypnosis session it was this entity that had taken me. And that's why I felt kidnapped. I mean, people say, "Did you have a guide?" And I'm thinking, I don't think I had time for a guide. I think the entity took me, and he was definitely not my guide. But
Yeah.
um yeah, just it was crazy. So I know that specifically that's when it was.
So what at that point, back in like the real world, the physical world, at that point, what hit you about life, if anything?
Mm. Well, when you're laying there at death's door, I mean, so many thoughts come through. And it's interesting about your podcast name because somebody had made me this tin thing out of a meme that I had put on social media that said can't, and then it was the T was crossed out. So I can't, I can.
Yeah.
And that sat in my room, and so I had that to look at all the time. I can. But laying there, it's like, wow, is this the legacy I'm leaving? Like, was I enough? Did I do enough? Did I serve enough? It was really about like, wow, is this it? I never thought I'd live to be old. I just never had that feeling that I'd be an old person. I'm already kind of an old person, so I guess I passed that. But I just would do these visualizations with different things, in personal development, and I could never see 5 years in the future. And I've got lots of stories about that. But I just, yeah, laying there and just wondering, okay. And then it got to where like my spiritual experience was when it got to where my prayers were changing. I mean, I was mad. I had had a
Like
cousin. What's that?
like your prayers were changing, like what you were asking for was
Oh
changing.
yeah, because you're suffering, you're laying there, and
Yeah.
about 3 weeks in or so, I'm kind of tired of fighting. I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
this sucks, and I was upset because
I want to pause there for a
yes, of
second.
course.
And I think you can relate to this, but people say life is short, right? Oh, life is do the thing, life is short, do the thing, life is short. Um, Yet you're in the throes of death, and it sounds like life got really long. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Got long.
Long, yeah.
It felt like an eternity when you can't do anything
Yeah.
and you want to, and you
Right.
I better. I mean, my focus is always better's better, and when you're literally fighting and doing everything you can and your body's just like fighting you back. um yeah, I mean, that defining moment I had when I knew I was going to live from my spiritual experience, that was my biggest aha, to see the people and the support. And that was actually the chant they were saying to me was fight, fight, fight. And I actually have a painting of it that I had commissioned after because it was so impactful for me. It was like, got it. I mean, you're praying. My prayer went, this sucks at that point. And if you're not going to get me better, get me out of here. I
Yeah.
was done. And that's my mom came to me and I had this whole vision and everything. And that just to know I had thousands of people I saw that I didn't even know, that later I figured out were like all the prayer chain people that I didn't know, that everybody had put me on all these, prayer lists and stuff all over the world. And to know I had that much support, it was just like, oh, okay, got it. I just have to fight. Not that I wasn't, but it was
Yeah.
like I knew at that point I would live. It wouldn't be easy, but I knew I'd live. And that was a defining moment for sure.
Um, a weird, odd question. Do you ever feel a little bit angry about coming back?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
And 2 years after, so about the first 4 months or so, I did what I was supposed to. I incorporated, got the 501(c)(3, incorporated my Retreat R&R company. Don't ask me how I did that. I was on oxygen. I was really, really sick for a long time. So I think I just had, people helping me do that. And then I would say almost 2 years. I call it the 2 years of hell. Like my life was the worst it had ever been. Take every bad day you've ever had, times it by 1,000, and that's how I felt every day. Like I prayed every day I would have died. I was just like,
Wow.
why would you save me to put me through this hell? Like what?
Yeah.
And I'm looking back now at everything that happened. I mean, it was awful. I felt like I repelled the people that loved me the most, that should have like gravitated towards me, went away, and it felt awful. It was just like, and those were lessons I need for the philanthropy work that I'm doing in the future, and I know that I needed to see the systems. I was dealing with, DCFS and some attorneys, and lost a grandkid to a family member, and it was just really horrible. And I don't want to go through that again, but I think, how many sons and grandsons can we save in the future because of what I had to go through with mine? And I know that that's the future, so it's okay. I have the end
Right.
result. I just got to work all the in between stuff out.
Yeah. Fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
You talk
can
about what's that?
and I can.
Oh yeah, yeah. You talk about rebuilding after crisis, and a lot of times people want to return, like I want my old life back. For me, it's rebuild.
Yeah,
What did rebuilding look like for you?
for
Like
me,
in the physical life sense.
yeah, it became all physical, because when you have health and you lose it, I was compromised like no other. And I would get sick so easy. And my relapses look like 6 weeks, and 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 pain level all day long, and not being able to function, the COVID fog. So you had all that going on, and just not being able to, I still sometimes when I get a dip, I can't think of words, and then I'll think of the first letter, and then I can think of it. Like it's a brain disease, so it's a real thing. So for me, it just
Wow.
looked like every day, okay, is my self-care my health-care today? Instead of doing some exercise, I'm going to go jump in my hyperbaric for 90 minutes instead, because saving my lungs right now are more important than my endurance. If I
Yeah.
don't have my lungs, I don't have my endurance. So I
Right.
think it
Yeah.
became a lot of different choices that I'd never had before.
Right. Um, Now, was there any piece of you that, like in the rebuilding process, that you had to let go of, or you had to let die? Like old habits, anything?
um, I'm still working on it, but the busy, being busy all the time and having to have every minute on your calendar filled up, or you don't feel productive. The doing and the doing, and stepping back and being in the being, and
Yeah.
just being present. I wasn't like raising my kids. I always had 3 or 4 companies at a time. We raised 8 children, so we had a whole house full
Holy
of
moly.
teenagers. Yeah, and we have almost 19 grandkids. So it's busy, and it's like I was there. I'm over 1,400 soccer kids. I'm doing real estate deals on the field while I'm there watching my kids play soccer. What was I present for?
Yeah.
It's like, why was I even there if I wasn't really there? And those are regrets I have. And so that's a lot of the lessons in the shift that I talk about in my book. That these are, I talk about 8 different things that kind of like your life will. And anyway, hopefully those will be things that people can learn from.
Right.
Mistakes, my thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about these companies, most people can't even keep a plant alive.
I know. And I could have, you get told when you're
Are you feeling stuck? Overwhelmed? It's like you're fighting against something that you can't even see or name. I've been there, literally. I survived sudden cardiac death and I rebuilt everything. I've mastered the art of controlling the chaos. Now I coach a small group of high performers that are willing to do the work to do the same thing. No fluff, no excuses, we just get results. If you're ready to take back control, apply now at jeffluther.com. This is all can, no can.
ADHD and you're busy all the time. It's, hey, if you just focus on one thing, you don't tell an ADHD person that, because guess what? They never will.
Yeah.
And I know that about me. My broker told me one time, you realize you'd be my number one agent if you just focus on real estate. And he had the number four in the nation with an ERA franchise. And so that was a huge compliment. But I looked him right in the eyes and I said, I know, but I wouldn't wake up happy every day.
Yeah.
And about 10 years later, he got dementia really bad where he didn't even recognize anybody. And
Oh
I ran
no.
into him and he came and looked me right in the eyes and he said, you still doing 100 things? His dementia doesn't remember anyone and he remembered that.
Wow.
And I thought, well, who do you want? A busy person helping you out or someone that's lazy that does nothing? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, and a couple of things about that. Sometimes we do that. We stay busy so that we don't have to sit idle and like sometimes I'll get really, really busy if there's stressors.
yes.
And that's always my red flag when I want to be really busy. Something's up.
And guess what happens to me now?
Tell me.
Well, I believe I was in the hospital in a coma, and I had other people tell me that too, to sit still so I would listen because I could
Yeah.
not do anything else but lay there and be in my head and have all these experiences. And I think my relapses this last year was a 10-week relapse, and I guess I'm a little slower than most. It took me getting out of that and looking back and going, huh, you think maybe you got off track a little and maybe that was your sign and you're having a relapse because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so I'm this year I'm hoping for no relapses. I'm just going to treat things differently and definitely step back. It's funny because where my trach was, I used to sing and
Oh
I was
wow.
good at it. And
Yeah.
I can't sing anymore. And they say there's no damage, but I don't know, when you have a 7 or 8 inch tube down your throat, I can't imagine you wouldn't have damage. But um, yeah, it's just the voice is different. Everything's just different. And so I think that's where I get a pain. And that starts when I get stressed, like you're saying, it's like your body shows you signals. Your intuition's always right. I mean, think about it. I'm listening to a
Well,
book right
let's
now.
I want to miss the relapse. What do you mean when you say relapse? You had a 10-week relapse. What does that mean?
So all like the long COVID symptoms come back. So
Oh, okay.
the first week it's the fatigue, the second week it's the pain. So if I hit the pain spot where I'm having a lot of pain, I mean head to toe, where it's just chronic, it's like that's when I'm gonna go, okay, stop. Whatever you're doing, stop because let's get this figured out. Because 6 to 10 weeks is way too long to have a relapse. And I work through it because that's who I am. I have things to do. I'm gonna get them done. I traveled through the 10 weeks and everything, but I felt like crap the whole time.
But it's okay. So now, all right, one, I want to ask this question. I have a tendency to build lists. Like I will
Mm.
make a list of things that I want to get done. And it's like a double-edged sword because if I make my list and I get everything done on there, then I'm like, you're so lazy. Why didn't you make a longer list? And then if I make a list and I don't get everything done on there, I'm like, you're so lazy. How could you not get your whole list done? Do you identify with that?
Yeah, I call them trivial many and critical few. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't, but it's probably
So the critical few are the things you really need to get done, but you're probably doing the trivial many to make sure you can check off that long list and
check it
feel
off.
better about yourself.
Yeah. And then so this is all funny to not funny. This is all so fascinating because now you've built this Retreat R&R and it sounds like it gives entrepreneurs permission to rest and relax and do it without feeling guilty. Do I have that right?
I mean, that's what, when you think of R&R, you think of what? Relaxation. What do they say R&R? Um,
Rest and relaxation,
relaxation.
right?
For me, because it's a software company and it's in development now, it's not even ready yet. Similar to like what an Airbnb would do, but for retreat venues, cooking up retreat leaders and venues. Okay, so picture that as a booking side.
Okay.
That's one piece of it. There's a real estate side, there's a concierge, there's a bunch of things to it. But that was the original idea, which needs, a couple $1 million by the time we're done to finish everything we want to
Yeah.
do. So for me, it was relationships, which are number one for me, and resources. So R&R for me meant relationships and resources. But yes, because they're retreats, rest and relaxation, for sure. I mean, I want people to identify with that because retreats are going nowhere. I mean, especially since COVID, people want that connection, and personal connection is, you can't replace it with online stuff.
Oh, that's my big thing. Connection. I mean, it's connection. I think that's the entrepreneur's success is connection.
Yeah.
I wish we would call retreats something besides retreats.
I
Like,
know. Well, what's funny is my book was for 2 years, my title to my book was called Retreat Forward. And then,
oh,
yeah. And guess what it's going to be now? I'm like, no, I'm so attached to it. But I was like, no, so I ended up using near death shift. And the shift is the acronym that I use to help in the book. But Retreat Forward will be like some branded retreats that I do. So it's
gotcha.
not
Okay.
going away, but retreat forward is like, you think about it, you're like, retreat means back. Let's move back to move forward. Sometimes that's how life is. We have to look back, fix everything to move forward.
Yeah, for sure. I'm big on like success is the action. And that's just my belief. Like, we
Yeah.
all have these goals and success is the goal. Well, gosh, once you hit the goal, do you stop? I back up a little bit, and success to me is like the small little things.
Mm.
Do you remember when you were getting back healthy, getting back going again? Did you have little micro actions that helped you kind of get your power back or get started?
Well, they were probably health actions instead of self-care, the health care. Yeah. I mean, because when you feel okay, you can be unstoppable. When you feel great, look what you can do. But when you have setbacks and you're not feeling well, and to me that was a new concept. I was always so healthy, so it was like I never even thought I'd get COVID. Not that I thought I was above it.
Sure.
I wasn't a candidate. I'm like, and it
Yeah.
had no mercy. Nobody is the same. But
That was so my next question was like one belief that you held before your coma that you laugh at now, and you just said it and you laughed. Your belief was that you wouldn't get it. That's funny.
so why did I?
Yeah, so that's the question,
Actually, I'm
right?
grateful. I mean, as much as it's been not a fun journey, um, honestly, it's a game changer. When people say, "Well, what's your why?" Oh, that drove me nuts. Or, "What's your purpose?"
Yeah.
And that's why my whole nonprofit's about women, helping women find their purpose, because I was in my 50s and had to almost die to figure out the purpose. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
my why's my family, but that's not the legacy necessarily I want to leave. I
Yeah.
want bigger impact. I want when people hear your name. I mean, it's not about me, but when people hear your name, they attribute you to some kind of goodness, something great that you did or that you left for others to serve the world.
Or or maybe it's just how you made them feel when you're around.
I'll
Maybe.
tell you what, when years ago, about 14 years ago, I ran for political office, a city council and a mayor seat, and realized that was not my journey. That was not my people. And I was like, and people called me the heart candidate. What a compliment, because I actually had one.
Oh, wow. Isn't
Like,
that funny?
you want her, she's the heart candidate, and I thought that was, at first I just didn't pay attention to it. Now I look back and I'm like, wow, that was the biggest compliment they could have gave me. But my life started after that. I moved about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. I moved away from that city and closer to an international airport, and I started speaking and writing my books, and it just felt different to like have people gravitate towards you. But my point of that was what to make people feel. It was like you're not forcing, it's they're coming. And I noticed after that, I never put anything on Facebook that's really, I do a little more spiritual stuff just because that's who I am, but no like religion and politics. Just, I don't do any of
Oh,
that.
right. Yeah.
Everything I'm on there is positive and uplifting. For 14 years now, I've made that a goal to not do that. And so now when people see my stuff, I'm hoping that they get that good feeling. They're like, this is a good person. and I
Yeah.
want it to be genuine, you know?
Yeah. So the last two guests that I had on the show that I interviewed, this came from not the last one, but the one before. Both were cancer survivors, and we both. This is an interesting question for me. When I was in it, like when I was trying to recover and I was depressed and I was just in that really dark place, if you can get there for a second and you remember it, when I was in that really dark place, I was so in tune and so disciplined and so patient and so empathetic with other people. And I really liked it. I liked where I was. But as I started to get better and come out of that hole, I got further from that discipline. And I think I heard you say that, why, I got a little lazy with my health and now I've had a relapse. Can you identify with that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's feeling like it, to me, if you're a victim, I don't think you're going to get that feeling, right? But if you're a victor,
Oh,
I think you will because you feel the difference. And that was the shift with the nonprofit. It was for long COVID, but I was getting better and I was so focused on health and wellness that that's the space I wanted to live in was health and wellness. And it
yeah.
kept putting me back in the sick space because when that's who you're supporting, those are a lot of victims. Not that they want to be,
Yeah.
granted, right? But there's a lot of negative the Facebook groups. I didn't even want to get on them anymore because
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear everybody whining and this and this. I mean, if I would read it and I could give them something uplifting or something that helped me, I would, no doubt. But it got to be where it would set me back mentally. And then when I was going through that 2 years of off, I didn't need any mental setbacks. I was having more mental setbacks on top of the health setbacks. And I probably had more health setbacks because of the mental setbacks. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think,
Um,
yeah, that, I don't know. That's what I thought of when you said that.
yeah. All right. So finish this sentence for me then. To fill in the blanks.
Okay.
I used to think that success was this, or I used to think success meant this, whatever it meant to you, and now it means this.
Oh, easy. I used to think success was being as busy as you could and getting done as much as you could all at the same time. And now success to me is happy. If you're happy, that's success.
It's hard, man. Sometimes we need permission to be happy as adults.
I know. But who's
That's
it up to?
crazy, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's up to us to make ourselves happy.
Yeah, I agree. And what I've learned though is sometimes we don't want to be happy or show happy because our friends or our family or whomever we're with, we
Yeah.
don't want them to feel bad because maybe they're not as happy as we are. So then we need permission to be happy. How messed up is that?
I know. And that's true. And that's just people having heart about them and wanting to I mean, everybody just needs to take their own accountability to it. And I think when you're a happy person, people are attracted to you, but everyone's attracted to you. So think about that. People that are not happy are very attracted to people who are happy. It's all about the light and the dark. And if you
Yeah,
have light, the more light you have, the more attraction you have, right? And
yeah,
so dark is definitely attracted to the light, especially if they don't have it.
right. So speaking of permission, if somebody listening now, maybe they're in that dark place, they feel like they've lost everything. Maybe they have, maybe they lost health, maybe just direction or identity. What permission would you give them?
Mm. The permission to feel it. I think for me, it's give yourself a time frame. What does it look like for you to get you to make that shift out of it? And so if it's a day, if it's an hour, if it's a week, whatever you decide ahead of time that you're going to allow yourself, give yourself that time and then stop it. That's all I gotta say. Stop it and get out of it. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but if you
No,
negotiate that with yourself ahead of time, it's going to be a lot easier.
yeah, experience share. When I first got my diagnosis, I'd gotten my diagnosis and it was grim. And my wife of 23 years filed for divorce directly after. I was in it. And
Yeah.
I went to Party City and I bought a pack of invitations. And when I got in it, I would write myself an invitation to my own pity party. Every great party has to have a beginning and it has to have an end. So I'd
Yeah.
make an end because I had to get out of it. I had three kids, like
Yeah.
have three kids.
Right.
I had to get out of it. So yeah, I like
That's a
that.
great idea.
Give
Buy
yourself,
yourself
yeah,
some flowers. You're sad nobody else is. There's nothing wrong. I mean, there's people I know once a week they buy themselves flowers just because they want fresh flowers in their house. And it's like you got to celebrate the little things and little
yeah.
moments. And
Oh yeah.
it is challenging because like the depression came in that I had never had after, you know. So yeah, I
And dude,
relate to
that's
all
a
of it.
bitch. Like I had never had depression, and that is like
Yeah, I cried
unreal.
every day for almost 2 years, and I am not a crier. I cry
It's
easier now, a little
it's
more sensitive.
but it's
But
so
no, I mean,
consuming. Depression
I
is
know.
so
And it ruins my
consuming.
contacts. And then I can't see and I need my eyes.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. All right, tell us about your book. It's almost done.
Oh, I know.
Book
I'm so
17.
excited. Like I almost feel like I've written no books because this is the book. And I knew when I came out of the hospital, I've had plenty of books that I've either been part of or they're my own. And I knew when I came out of the hospital, I had two more. And the first one's this book, and the second one will be about all the philanthropy work that we're doing. So I already know that's happening. But I was a little bummed because I didn't want to do any more books. I was like, I got enough. But this is
Yeah,
it. It's called Near Death Shift. What dying taught me about life, business, and purpose. And it's a spiritual book and a personal development book. So the first half is my story. There's 17 chapters. It's my 17th book. I'm all about numbers. And yeah, we talk about the last chapters are all the personal development of 8 different things in the life wheel that I learned and the lessons I learned. And then the SHIFT acronym is in there that we talk about. And it's the SHIFT is surrender, hope, intuition, faith, and transformation. So
that's
all those
awesome.
lessons are in there. And yeah, I'm excited for it. So if you watch for it, we'll have our launch on 11/11 because 1111 is definitely
Because
significant.
you're all about numbers.
Well, I got out of the hospital that day and my birthday's 1/1 and it just makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do that, but it'll be 99 cents for the Kindle on that first well, for a couple days. So,
Okay. And how do people find you if somebody wants to contact you or wants to connect?
well, can you put it in the show notes for me?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what I'll do is I'll give you my link tree and that gives you all my social media, the website, where you can get the book. Everything will be on one link. So it'll make it super easy for people.
Perfect. That's fantastic. Um, Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Well, thanks, Jeff. You're a great interviewer and you're a blast. So thank you.
Yeah, and your energy is infectious.
Ah, thanks.
I hope people actually do watch this as well as listen to it. It's just been fun.
Well, if I piqued your interest in the story, there's a lot of juicy stories in there. There's some crazy stuff too. There's a lot of crazy out of body stuff I had, but yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Holly. This has been All Can, No Can't. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and pass this on to someone that might need it. And we'll look forward to Holly's book coming out. Thank you so much, Holly.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.